First, you have to remove two 10mm bolts, one right here and one right here, that connect the intake housing to the engine manifold, or the engine. Next, I have to remove all the hoses. There's a vent here from the left cylinder head. There's this connects to the PCV valve, is right in there, hard to see. Here is connects to your throttle body, just a metal band. And here's another hose. This goes to the right cylinder head. Hoses are pretty easy. They're just pinch clamps and slide them off. Here's a sensor I forgot to mention. You just pinch right here. Ideally, there you go. Get the PCV valve off. That one's kind of hard. I'm just going to pull it off later. I already did this one. 8mm socket is the fastest way to do these clamps I found. That way your screwdriver doesn't slip off a bunch. Right loose, I'm going to try and get the PCV valve off. Yep, super easy. And it just comes right off. Here's what it looks like. This is the way it should connect right here. Because of the shape, I'll be able to lose this connection right here that just connects to the engine manifold or the transmission. And then I'll be able to get rid of this bracket right here. Maybe like half a pound, a third of a pound. And then see this vacuum line that runs to the side of the cylinder head, it connects right there, goes up. That is going to connect to the right connection. And then this left connection is going to this hose that connects to the right cylinder head. You can see in the center with that pinch clamp, that's where the right cylinder head vent hose is. It goes up behind your wires and your fuel filter right there. There's where it connected to the old intake. But with this one, I'm going to need to extend that hose over here to this left connection. So the hoses will be a little bit longer, but I lose the brackets and I lose that big square case and filter. Some hose that I bought at Ace Hardware, same diameter that fits those connections. So I'm going to run this hose from this side right here. It's going to run up to the other connection. I'm going to cut it, and then this side basically is going to clamp down there. It's going to come up more directly and connect to the intake right there. The old intake hoses compared to the new ones, this is going to be kind of nice because here you can see on my old intake hose there's like a crack right where it connects. The pinch clamp kind of helps keep it secure, but this one's not cracked. And ideally I'd like to use pre-bent hoses that shape everything around the wires in the engine bay. And I almost bought some PVC connections so I could piece these with a couple other pieces I have. But I instead went for the straight tube. That way it's just a more direct path and the gases won't get caught up on those little connections and likely will have gunk built up around the connection inside the pipe. So this is a more direct path, and it'd probably be a shorter path actually too than pre-bent. Where things get a little tricky, this is my PCV valve right here. It goes down and connects to the engine block. It comes up and has two connections. One goes to the throttle right here, and one goes into the intake manifold right here, the intake box with the filter. But the new hose doesn't have a third entry for this. I could combine the two sides and then have that one entry connect to just one of these connections and then this connect to the PCV valve. But this is an EJ22E, but in the EJ253 that I have, it doesn't have this third hose right here. It simply runs straight from the case to the throttle body. So, and it's like a 4-year newer car. So I'm hoping they found some improvements and just eliminated that, which I'm going to do. I'm just going to plug it for now until I find a new connection. And the second thing this new intake doesn't have is This is your intake air temperature sensor, and it has no spot to mount the sensor. So I'm going to drill a hole right above these two connections so it senses the mixture of air, the cold air and the recycled air from the vent hoses. It's going to sense the temperature of the combination of those two right before it gets to the throttle, as it would when it was attached to the old square manifold after the filter. And it will be after the cone filter here too, so not much will be changing from the sensor. Here's the new hole I drilled for the intake air temperature sensor. This little grommet basically fits in there, and then here's your sensor. This jams through the grommet and reads the temperature of the air coming in. And I chose that location so it's not reading just hot air from both of these. It maybe just reads hot air from just one, maybe, with the mixture of cold air. And I'm hoping that's an appropriate mixture to tell the sensor at all times, pretty much. Here's everything all connected. You can see the rubber grommet in the sensor. You'd never guess it didn't come like that. Here's everything mocked up. There's where the sensor is right there. Here's in the center is this is the PCV valve hose that I'm going to block off just with a screw. Wrap a little duct tape around a big bolt and just jam it in there. No air's getting out of there. Then it'll basically just be a smooth airflow. Now I have to measure the hose from here to this side, and then from the other connection back there to the other. Here's the new vent hoses, final cut, measure twice, cut once. Here's the right side, here's the left side, and for size comparison, here's the old left one. You can see there's not much extra travel for the air, and it's more of a direct path, so I'm hoping that that kind of cancels each other out pretty much, if not makes an improvement. Here's the new cold air intake with the hoses installed. You can barely see the sensor right there. Just everything that's removed, probably, I'd say I probably lost maybe 5 pounds, 3 to 5 pounds. Technologically advanced ways to block hoses I've found is to wrap a short bolt in some trusty electric tape, just the size of the inner diameter of the hose. Basically trick a hose into thinking that it's connected when the bolt's jammed in, and then just clamp it just regular. It keeps an airtight seal. I've already got everything connected and tightened down. Here's the throttle body. Remember, it was originally folded over. I bet this intake part, that thing feels good right about now, connected the right way. Here's my intake air temperature sensor. Just looks like it came that way. My two hoses connect here, goes to the right. This one in the back goes to the left. Here's a little connection, doesn't do anything. It just helps connect the hoses if you need for whatever was the previous design. Here's my vent case hose, or my vent hose to the case. You can see it's connected down there. There's the left one, comes behind, goes down, it's connected right there. Now I'm just going to remove the brackets and clean everything up. Alright, there's everything put together. Got the battery connected, got those brackets removed, got the hoses all tightened connected. I don't have a cone filter yet, but I'll have one in the next couple days. It's just either going to stick out right there. I'll have all the cold air from the grill rushing in from the wheel well right there, hopefully. Or I might run it just the slightest bit longer so it can go closer to the grill. I'm not sure. Here's where all the brackets were and all the housing. Much more room back here. Look, I could just reach back here. This is all closed off by the housing. Much more room back here. And the only thing I lose is this PCV connection, so I have less exhaust gases being recycled. But I think, I'm not sure how that'll affect the power. I feel like the more fresh air will help it. But we'll see. as I mentioned, that doesn't exist on future models of different engines from this brand. And it's going to be a much shorter path for the air to take into the engine. So hopefully this adds a little reliability. Hopefully my engine likes this update. Oh, and with this new hood scoop, I just put this hood scoop on the other day. So I'm going to have tons of fresh air coming in right there. It's just going to be freezing in there, basically. So I hope this engine is happy. Here's the last step. I finally got this filter from Advanced Auto Parts for like 20 bucks when they're going out of business sale.